Dude, come over here. No, dude, I found something crazy. I need to show you this. It's wild. It's making so much sense. I can't believe I've never heard of this before. Oh my god, you got your hands full. You've always got your hands full. Fine, I'll read it to you. No, it can't wait. This is crazy. I need to tell you about it right now. In search of the perfect pork martini. Why pork? The pork martini serves many needs on many levels. In these Pomo days when old formulas are reborn with futile twists for our fickle tastes, the meat cocktail stands out above cranberry-tainted attempts at bar trendiness. This martini, abandoning the olive garnish for that of a pork rind wedge, bridges social strata by merging the flavors of the working class with that of wealthier ones. It has the humanitarian goal of bettering the nutrition of alcoholics, offering protein for those who prefer their lunches liquid. Since meat digests longer, it will both inebriate and offer nutrients for longer periods. It will open new markets to pork consumption, adding American jobs to every level of the meat industrial complex. And finally, it looks really weird. The infusion. To begin the quest, approximately 3 ounces each of sweet-dried pork, an excellent Chinese snack food, pan-sautéed ground pork from the patty interior, boiled sliced sweet Italian dinner sausage, and briefly sautéed Spam were steeped separately in approximately 4 ounces each of 100 proof absolute vodka in covered glasses for up to 2 weeks. The pork patty and Spam were first sautéed in canola oil, which was tipped away early to avoid influencing the taste of the meats. The dried pork, being the least permeable, was given a few extra days to infuse. Although gin makes only the true martini, vodka was chosen as the less distracting base for these cocktails, especially for the sake of the sausage martini, the fennel and cracked pepper of which might clash with the complex botanicals of gin. The transmogrification. After 2 weeks or more of stewing in absolute, all 4 pork products showed minor physical changes. The Chinese sweet-dried pork had been lightly pink and rough to the touch. After infusion, the meat was pale gray and the service velvety soft, although the pork strips retained their stiffness. The vodka was murky with particulates. What first appeared to be traces of oil on the surface turned out to be the aggregates of those pork particles. Its bouquet was simply that of vodka. The ground pork, which had never been pretty to begin with, reminded me of some tumors I had seen at the Army Medical Museum at Walter Reed. Its vodka was the clearest of all. However, brownish-yellow droplets of pork oil clung to the surface at the rim. Its bouquet was distinctly meaty, with a slightly burnt overtone. The sausage retained its cooked gray color, but its surface appeared muddied, softened. The sausage's fat chunks remained distinctly white. This vodka was tinged yellow. The bouquet smelled clearly of sausage, though it was less overpowering than that of the ground pork vodka. The Spam had changed the most dramatically in its alcohol bath. The bright pink meat was now as dull a gray as any of the other porks, and its vodka was heavily clouded, yet quite bright with the finest of particulates. Oil droplets obscured the entire surface of the vodka. The bouquet reeked of acid. I asked a science editor friend about the color change, wondering if the alcohol was reacting with the nitrite preservative of the meat, wondering if it would kill me. He rejected that possibility, at least the first half of it, in favor of the hypothesis that it was the pork that was leaching oxygen from the water in the alcohol. This was far scarier, but much more interesting, and if it had the side effect of increasing the strength of the drink, so much the better. The pork-infused vodkas were decanted from their glasses through a triple layer of cheesecloth into mixing glasses. This removed most pork solids, but no attempt was made to skim any oils present. The vodkas were separately mixed, 1/5 dry with Martini and Rossi extra dry vermouth, and were chilled only moderately so as not to disguise subtle flavorings. The martinis were stirred, drained of their ice, then poured into fresh martini glasses. Were any animals harmed during the course of this experiment? Of course, the pork animals. No, dude, you have to listen to the rest of this. It only gets better from here. The tasting. Tasting was overseen by a collection of sprightly, generic, yet authentic Cole Porter oldies such as Let's Do It, I've Got You Under My Skin, and Always True to You in My Fashion. Hot, salted Chinese imitation egg noodles and tap water were on hand to clear the palate. And there was even a lovely blonde in the room. Me. The sweet dried pork martini, despite the lack of apparent surface oil, coated the bottom of my upper lip with a tangy pork greasiness. I was casually impressed, though I began to worry about what the more visibly oily pork vodkas would offer later. The chilled martini had a piggy bouquet beyond its plain pork vodka aroma. Was that the endothermic effect of the chilled liquor alerting the nose, or the action of the herb-steeped vermouth? I sipped a little. No aftertaste or after effect beyond an expected tummy warmth. Little flavor at all, in fact. Dried meats would seem less than optimum. What? No, I don't know how to pronounce it or what it means. I just know that it's spelled vermouth. It's fine. I don't need to know what it means to understand that this guy is a genius. Anyway, the ground pork martini's scent was powerful with essence of pork patty. This is not a cocktail for the pork martini dilettante, like specifically demanding from your bartender a vodka martini instead of the understood default gin martini. You'll have to specify the pork patty martini instead of the vanilla version. And make sure he or she fries the pork just right, searing the surfaces, draining the fat, and not letting it burn while you chase Naomi or Leonardo into a restroom. Come back when it's mixed. Wow, this martini packed a pork wallop. The aroma was overpowering, I have to admit, but that masked the oil. I saw the oil before, really, see my comments under transmogrification, but I tasted no oil. I declare this a martini you will love or hate, no middle ground. You could get drunk on the bouquet alone, a secondary high. Your neighbor will notice, and I mean your next-door neighbor, as you mix this at home, not the crackhead on the next bar stool, and ask, "Hey, is that pork you're drinking?" "Yes," you trumpet proudly. A great way to make new friends, unless he or she is vegetarian. But who wants a vegetarian friend? Now hold on, I'm not done yet. Here comes the sausage. Forgive me, I accidentally doubled the vermouth. The yellow cast was gone, but it was as distinctively sausagey in odor as the ground pork was groundy. The cheesecloth let lots of pork particulate through. This was a cloudy one, people, best served in the dark. Lots of fat on top, another downer, but the taste was crisp, and it had an aftertaste. Further martini experiments must play with the full sequence of flavors to restore the crisp martini bite to the previous two drinks. The seeds, dill, aren't even masked by the extra vermouth. The pork sausage martini was a winner, more generic than the ground pork martini, but as strong and fine. Look for it at a street fair truck near you, with a green pepper garnish. Spam time. Now come on, I'm almost done. NB. I don't like Spam. I hate it. I can't believe that Spam is so hip nowadays. Have its apologists actually tasted it? Canned cat food is strip steak next to the foul, pink, greasy, Dachau-invented excrescence that is Spam. Spam tastes sour. It has no texture. It overpowers any attempt at seasoning. But here it is. If the Spam martini holds its own within the aesthetic parameters of Spam, my staring at that pickled fetal tissue imitation for 2 weeks will have been worth it. I admit that the bouquet is odd, neither of Spam nor of gelatin, not that it could be the latter since I'd washed that off. The sausage particulates had been chunky, but the Spam fragments are uniformly tiny and stay suspended in the cocktail like Orbit's gummy spheres. Shake the strained Spam martini lightly, and they all move in unison. This is more than oxygen depletion. I am convinced that the Spam has changed the specific gravity of the vodka, but I don't have the equipment to test that. Oh wait, I have to taste this, don't I? I don't want to do this. I'm holding my nose. Here goes. I can't believe I made a Spam martini. Goodbye, Wendy. I love you. Huh. Hey, I lived. God, it's salty. You can't taste the ham. You can't even taste Spam. It's pure salt. Not tingly margarita rim-encrusting salt, but oily, slimy salt. I am majorly clearing my palate here. Little noodles all over the place. Sipping water. once again, Blech. I am pouring water into the drink. Tasting? Forget it. This is a loser, people. Spam doth not a martini make. Word to your bartender. Yeah, that's the article. Gross. The man's a genius. I mean, okay, the spam thing didn't work out, but the sausage martini? We should try that. But it doesn't even taste like oil. Now, maybe I wouldn't let it steep for as long as this guy did. There are some modifications you can make to make this better, but like a pork martini, it's genius. This guy was ahead of his time. Oh yeah, this was written in like 1997. No, it wasn't in like a magazine or anything. It was just like on this guy's website. Man, the 90s were a crazy time to be online. Anyway, pork sausage or ground pork, like, we gotta look into this. Really? You're not gonna let me use your martini glasses for this? I'd wash them out afterwards. Well, seems like this guy wasn't appreciated for his genius in his time or mine. Everyone's a critic. Man, internet memes in the 90s were way more interesting. Can you believe we gave this up for Facebook?